Wolf back. What's going on? It's your boy, the Wolf of Roto Street, rotostreetjournal.com. We breed and feed you fantasy wolves here with the final last of 2020 rankings rundown. Week 16, we have reached that final last week, Wolf Pack, and it is time to get those lineups perfect. Obvious, you don't need me to spell out that this is do or die. Everything's on the line. Nothing more exciting for those of you that are competing in your fantasy championships. One, congrats. It's never an easy path to get there. So much craziness can happen in the fantasy playoffs. We saw last week these ridiculous performances, 30 points from so many people. So whether you had them, you were facing them, hopefully you overcame whatever it was, and you are in there in your fantasy finals. I, of course, will go position by position, rank them, set them. It starts with the ECR by FantasyPros, what the average rankings are, and then I just kind of move them along where I disagree. From there, I will update these throughout the week. This is just the first draft, so keep checking back at rotostreetjournal.com, where we breed and feed fantasy wolves, or download our iOS app, where you can get our content in a nice, very clean form, and we will be updating this throughout the week. And, of course, Wolfpack, get your questions on in live here. I will answer everything in between each position. I like to hit the questions. So just get your questions in. I will be live with all of those. Let's bring in now, though, the rankings. I always like to just check out really quickly, reminding you guys of all the strength of schedule. And I guess before we get really cooking here, if you don't mind giving us a thumbs up wherever you're at, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, it helps us reach more people, helps the audience find us for this final last week. It would mean so much, Wolfpack, to consider doing that. And of course, checking out rotostreetjournal.com/support2020. If you feel like we've helped you at all and are willing to submit a testimonial about how we've done that, would mean the world. Alrighty, Wolfpack, that's the last of those plugs. Let's now get into this. So we got quarterbacks here. And of course, you got your Falcons, Jags, Jets. No surprising names here. Detroit, Seahawks, the Tennessee Titans, Chargers, and Browns, all giving up more than 20 points per game. Denzel Ward did come back, and they seem to be a little bit, obviously they're stronger of a defensive unit with him, but nonetheless something that can be beat. You got your Broncos and Vegas Raiders rounding out your top 10. In terms of the bottom five, the Rams limiting QBs to the fewest, 13 points per game. Insane. Steelers not far behind. They looked pretty horrible last night against those Bengals, though. Pats, Dolphins, and Giants rounding out your bottom five matchups that you don't want to face. Football team, we just saw crushed Russell Wilson, too. So they're another matchup to be wary of. We'll bounce back and forth between this, though, as we go through the names. I mean, how could you have anybody other than Pat Mahomes at the top this week, facing Atlanta, most points allowed, best quarterback of maybe all time? It's going to be a bloodbath. Like, there's no way that one doesn't pan out unless Le'Veon Bell somehow sneaks in like 3 touchdowns. I don't see that happening. So I absolutely love him. I got to go back to Rodgers at number 2. Yeah, dud week, 18 points. I mean, dud for him. Not really that horrible of a week. But by his standards, certainly a dud. Against Tennessee, a game that I think should definitely shoot out Sunday night action, Sunday night hope for all those you in there. I love Rodgers this week. He should get right back to his 4-touchdown, 300-ish yards way. As we saw over here, the Titans are a bottom 10 matchup, number 6 in points allowed. It seems like that's just getting worse and worse as the year goes on. Kyler Murray, though, right back to form, 400 yards, running all over the place. I think he makes sense as your number 2. I like Lamar Jackson a lot. Josh Allen, it's going to depend upon who his weapons are. Is Stephon Diggs going to be playing? He got dinged up. We're not guaranteeing a game out of him. In fact, if it's anything serious, I would not be expecting him to go. So this could bump Josh Allen down a little bit this week. I got to have Jalen Hurts, though, in my top 5 here. Maybe even above Lamar Jackson, who's been pretty up and down. Obviously coming off a huge week against Jacksonville, but who doesn't come off huge weeks against Jacksonville? So I love Jalen Hurts. Facing off against Dallas should absolutely rock that team. So I'm really big into that one for sure. Looks like a bunch of the Wolves are here and ready. Love to see those comments coming in. Keep it coming, guys. And of course, shares, likes, all that good stuff. So appreciated. From here, how do you not have Tannehill, at least in your top 8? Like, sure, last week came against Detroit. Anybody can destroy Detroit, including Tom Brady, who will bump up above Justin Herbert. Yeah, Herbert had a great day, and he looked great doing it. I still don't trust Anthony Lynn. If they get a big lead, they're just going to pound the rock. Not a big fan at all there. So I'm going to cut this tier, though, off right here. I'm not putting Russell Wilson in that tier. Fuck Russell Wilson these last few weeks. I mean, now it gets an even worse matchup than the football team. The one thing that could come out of that is maybe Goff makes it a shootout, but Goff looked like shit. Like, how do any of these guys get ranked above Baker Mayfield? The QB3 over the last 4 weeks has been a top 12 guy in 4 straight weeks. The only time he's ever done that in his career. Love me some Baker Mayfield. I think he belongs right in this tier. Maybe kicks off, like, if we're calling this the elite of the elite, these guys, the high-end QB1s, I think Baker right below that tier as like QB1, if he's your QB2, awesome, fantastic, well done. I'm going to bump Breeze up, quiet 20 points. Now gets Minnesota, who he's historically whipped around, and he also gets those horrible corners there. So I like him. I'm going to have Matty Ice definitely above Tua. I like Mitch to put up, a nice 20 or so this week. Am I really about to rank Matt Ryan and Mitch Trubisky above Russell? I don't know. It's seeming that way for sure. Fucking call me crazy, Wolfpack. I don't know. This is brutal. Wolfpack, I guess you can't see the rankings, Tunes. Thank you for texting me right there. I'm going to make sure I share the right. I think I was just sharing a tab and I need to share a window. Wolfpack, my fault on that application window. There we go. Usually I share the window there. So as you can see, Mahomes, Rodgers, Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson as your top guys. And then you got your Josh Allens, Tannehill. Green Bay, one of the better defenses, but I think that game shoots out. I think Tannehill does his damage. Big fan of him. Deshaun Watson, Brady, and Herbert rounding out the top 10 and like your elite, legends, quality QB1s. And now we're into like the startable. I really think, Baker belongs in this tier. He really has been crushing it. And also only 45% owned. So if you're desperate for a QB streamer, first look to Hurts, who's still out there in over half of leagues. Then look to Baker as a potential streamer out there on your waiver wires. I'm going to bump up Matty Stafford here. Dude slings and gets Tampa Bay, who's Matty Ryan just put up almost 30 points against him without Julio. That secondary is really getting destroyed lately. So I'm a big fan of him as long as he's healthy, good to go. I'd cut this off right around here. Tua could maybe jump into there if his weapons are all healthy, but I don't love it. It gets pretty ugly from here. There's, hopefully you have one of these top 17 guys or 2 QBs, 2 of them at this point. Goff against Seattle seems appetizing, but that game has ugly written all over it. Just like defensive slug, grossness. That's how it's become there for Seattle. I don't know that I love this one. And Jamal Adams back, that defense is really taking a turn. So I'd rather have Stafford, probably Matt Ryan. I think I'd rather have Stafford than Matt Ryan. I really don't know that you can trust Russell Wilson at this point. Maybe he whips one last crazy game off. He was looking like the fantasy MVP so early, but I don't know that I can trust him. And we come down here, playing the matchups wise. I like, actually, you know what? Mariota, the Konami upside's very real. Put him, QB 15. Talk about a potential streamer for you guys. 1% owned right now. Love his upside. I hate the Miami matchup, but 88 rushing yards and a TD last week. I can get down with that for sure. Looks like Mullins is going to need surgery, so he won't be playing. We're getting into the real shit down here. Carr will not be playing. I'm assuming we won't have Alex Smith or McCoy. It'll be Daniel Jones out there. We'll find out, though. If I'm getting this low, I do think Pittsburgh's not what they were last year. I think Philly Rivers could be an okay streamer if you get down to this range. Big Ben just crapped himself, but they're going to want to bounce back. And I think that game could have it looks like a defensive battle. I could see that one becoming more of a shootout than it's getting credit for right now. I would bump Newton and some rushing upside just a little bit up here. I don't want him, trust me. But with that leg points you can get. And then, after this, I did not mean to bump him down. Not sure why that happened. There we go. And then you got just your garbage down here. I mean, Darnold may be above like these guys. Haskins, they sling. I mean, 80 plays last game. If he's not suspended, at least we'll find out. That's kind of feels pretty solid for me. I'm going to load up the running backs here, load up the running back points against, and get to your questions, as I like to do in between each set. Let's go, Jeremiah, on to the championship. Love to hear it. Tunes, 2 championships, 2 of them. That's unbelievable. Love it. What's up, Wolves? Great to see you, Mitch. I know you're not battling for the ship, and I hate it, but I'm glad you're still here. You're the fucking man. Can I drop Mixon, Julio, Kittle? Well, I would wait for Kittle. They're saying there's a good chance he could play. I would wait on all these guys, Jeremiah. Like, they're all studs, and all of them have, potential playing this week. We'll find out as soon as they're ruled out, of course. Like, there's week 16. It's do or die. These guys aren't going to matter. But I would hold on to all of them. Mixon gets Houston if he plays, like easiest possible matchup for running backs. Julio, not a bad spot at all in a game that could potentially shoot out. So I wait that one out, especially Kittle too. Like, would be a number 3 tight end should he play, and it's looking like he's trending that way. Hang tight, Jeremiah. Don't drop any of those guys. Sorry for those who need. A lot of people needed Ebron last night. That fucking sucks, and I feel horrible for everybody that needed him, needed Juju. Oh, I'm sure you guys have seen that tweet about like how one person was up and then they lost with Ebron and Juju because they got negative points. And it's like one of those things like, why didn't you bench him? Well, what about stat corrections? It seemed like there's a better chance that 2 guys aren't going to combine for negative points than stat corrections. But here we are. That's what fucking happened. So sorry again to those of you who need Ebron. I'm like scoring the second most points in leagues and not winning either. Oh, Cody, what have you done to the fantasy gods, my good friend? That's terrible. Oh, that's got to be a real kick to the balls. I'm sorry, Cody. Fuck. Hopefully your karma, this will carry over and it will all come full circle for you next year, and you can bang out some big wins. Tannehill, tough matchup, but shootout potential, or Herbert, better matchup? I'm going to go Tannehill. I like the shootout style. Matchups haven't been the issue for him. And both teams, Green Bay likes to slow the game down when they can, but Tennessee really pushes the pace tunes. I can't bench him after last week. No way. Hope Kittle and Gibson come back. Absolutely. We all do. Couple studs there. What's up, Wolf? What's up, Denny? On to the ship, baby. Love it. Go get that title, Denny. Especially of all people this year, you certainly deserve it. Fella and I, mano a mano. Love it, shady ass. 2 of my Wolfpack favorites here. Co-workers, rivals become both wolves of the same pack, one moon. This is fucking awesome. Only one alpha can prevail. Battle of the fittest. Who's the hungrier wolf? Take your pick. I got to see the lineups before I can take my pick, because I know you both know your shit. I love talking ball with both of you. I don't have your squads memorized, Austin, but send us in some pictures of this matchup. I would love to see what we got. Two of the finest wolves of the pack, though. I love it. Aaron Jones or Montgomery. Jamal Williams did not practice. I already would have been Aaron Jones, Ilias, and if no Jamal Williams, we're looking at Aaron Jones coming off the highest snaps of the season, I think maybe of the last 2 to 3 years since LaFleur got there, and a cakewalk matchup against Tennessee. To me, it's got to be him. As much as Montgomery's been eaten, and he's against the Jags, so they're going to end up ranking, neck and neck. So you know what? Why don't we pull that up? Quarterback, we'll answer this one. Murray or Rodgers? I have Rodgers slightly higher, Ilias. That is a brutal one, though. I mean, 2 and 3, neck and neck, just like this. How do you have this many good players that can't just be in your lineup? This is nuts. How did you get Murray and Rodgers? I guess Rodgers was falling. I'm going to go Rodgers against Tennessee in the shootout, but if you go Murray, I totally understand it. Don't blame you. And Tunes, I got that fixed. I believe you guys can see them all now. Who do you trust more, Anthony Lynn or Keenan Allen? Neither. I'd fucking toss both into a dumpster if possible, Cody Hawks. They both suck. Screw them. Get rid of both of them. I'm fucking done with Keenan Allen. 2 week 15 duds in back-to-back years, just like Amari Cooper. 2 back-to-back. There's guys that just, it's like the new moon every year. Fucking time's an endless loop. Do I trust Miles Sanders? Asks Jeremiah Moore. I do. I know it was a little bit of a dud week, but let's see where he ranks. 2 weeks ago, he had a monster performance. And yeah, it seemed like this was an offense that could be schemed, once they had some film on it. But I still believe. And he gets Dallas this week. So it's like, that of all matchups to believe, that's one. As you can see, Dallas is number 6 in points allowed. So going down the list, Detroit, no brainer. You're going to get Leonard Fournette because Ronald Jones is not playing against them. The Texans, we just talked about. Get Gio Bernard this week, or maybe Joe Mixon, should he return. Either one, whoever's the starter is going to be a top 20 play. Jags, Montgomery should destroy him. The Raiders get the Dolphins. Is it going to be Gaskin? Is it going to be Ahmed? Coming off that huge week. Gaskin, if he's eligible, should come off this week from the COVID list. You'd think he might just be the starter, but Ahmed just crushed it. So that could end up being an ugly situation. They've been a workhorse backfield all year, though, so we will see. Packers allowing the 5th most points, so solid spot for your man Derrick Henry to continue going completely berserk down the stretch here. Cowboys, Miles Sanders. Titans, Aaron Jones. So a lot of your studs are going to have some cakewalk matchups, which is what you want to see in these finals. Carolina, I'm not sure they get... let me look that up real quick for you guys. Carolina gets Washington, so J.D. McKissick or Gibson, if he plays, will be in great spots. And then rounded down by the Seahawks, now allowing the 10th most, but no Akers. He's been ruled out with a high ankle sprain. Now your bottom 5 Saints, despite getting smashed by the Eagles on the ground 2 weeks ago, still the worst team for running backs. Pittsburgh is one of the more dangerous matchups, but I do want to say since losing Bud Dupree, they've looked shitty. Gio Bernard just put up over 20 points against them. Like, if he could do that, Jonathan Taylor this week, I wouldn't be shying away. Dalvin Cook, worst possible matchup, you're playing Dalvin Cook, so no worries there. Tampa Bay Bucks, though, that's a team you pass first, run never against. So DeAndre Swift, he's a big pass catcher. I won't downgrade him too much, but that's a scarier matchup than you'd like to see in your finals. Washington football team, that D-line is crazy stuff. So Chris Carson, not the ideal spot, especially with actually that was last week. Chris Carson faced these guys. Christian McCaffrey, should he return, or Mike Davis, not the ideal spot. And then Rams against running backs, no good. So that's Chris Carson's spot right there. 49ers, Tony Pollard just smacked these guys in the teeth. They suffered some real serious injuries, so I don't know if I buy that one. Let's get it on going, Wolfpack. Why don't we? I think Derrick Henry at the top makes perfect sense. I think King Henry deserves a tier by himself. Green Bay, easy matchup. Stud going for 2,000 yards. Let's get it. I'm going to bump Aaron Jones to number 2 above Alvin Kamara. Kamara was not nearly as involved as a receiver with Breeze back, as I think a lot of us expected. Maybe it's a game of shaking off the rust. But dare I say it, David Montgomery, against Jacksonville, he's going to have 2 touchdowns. He's going to eat. So, Ilias, as you can see, that decision is not an easy one. Aaron Jones and Montgomery, my 2 and 3. I think this seems right. Alvin Kamara and Dalvin Cook. I mean, Dalvin Cook just got it done this last week in a tough spot. So I never really doubt him at this point. I would say that rounds out this. Eckler, is he healthy? Is he on snap counts? What the fuck's going on there? Bump him down a little bit. Nick Chubb against the Jets like that. Yeah, 13 points, underwhelming, but against the Jets, he'll be bleeding clock all day. So I love him. One of my favorite players to just watch go to work. It looks like we're ranking Pollard as if he's the starter. And if that's the case, how do we not have him top 10 after that 30-point outburst? Now an easier matchup against Miami all day. It does. The drop-off's pretty real. I'm not worried about this Pittsburgh matchup. I would say, right around here. I like Dobb. Maybe this is the week, solid week, 62 yards, touchdown, like nice. I think we still have one of those like 150 blow-up games coming. So I'm still pretty pumped about him. But I like Paul. I like Taylor. This is assuming Zeke is out, of course. Why play him if you're them? David Johnson, don't love the player, but I love 11 catches. When did they decide to start throwing running backs? I don't know. Benny Snell can put up 20 points against that team. Cincinnati's no good. So I like David Johnson. I actually really do. I think he belongs in this tier. So if this is King, this is elite RB1s. This is lower end RB1s. I can't call David Montgomery or David Johnson. I can call David Montgomery an elite RB1, but not David Johnson. I'm bumping down Swift. That matchup is not great. I think that's going to be a game that's won through the air or attacked through the air. Probably not won by the Lions. I don't know what to make of Drake. What a bust of a performance. But before that, he had 5 touchdowns in 4 weeks. I think he could rebound nicely. James Robinson, the ankle injury. Let's rank him as if he's playing, which would be, I'd say, a high-end RB2 this week. Dinged up, Chicago, tougher matchup. I am going to bump up Wilson. We had Mostert moved to the IR this week. And so, Wilson was the only guy getting carries. I don't know that McKinnon touched the field, maybe 2 snaps. And Tevin Coleman had 2 touches. Obviously, though, they might scheme it up a little differently this week, knowing that Mostert's not there. But I think Wilson can definitely be trusted in championship spots this week. Should see about 15 to 20 carries. And maybe he might see 25 if he's truly the only guy, which it has been. I got to bump up McKissick. I don't know why he's so low each and every week. Played 70 snaps this last week. 70. Carolina, the 8th easiest matchup. I'm riding that all day. As you can see, I'm a little lower on Carson. I'm lower on the Seahawks in general. Don't love, Mike Davis this week. Should be getting volume, but he's didn't do much against a Green Bay team that was a cakewalk. Why is he going to do anything against, Washington here? I would bump Bell, featured back against Atlanta, should catch some balls here. I just said Kenny Drake could be trusted, and now I'm just bumping him further and further down. We know Fournette's going to be the guy against Detroit, the most points allowed to running back, so I'm going to bump him up. A lot of ugly streams that are going to actually be pretty sexy this week, I'm kind of feeling here. Ahmed, if he's the guy, let's rank it as if Gaskin's not playing. If he's the guy, he's got to be, up here. He was just the running back, 4 or 5? Now gets the Raiders giving up that many points, I would have him above probably Melvin G. Melvin G's been getting it done. I don't want to disrespect him, but I think this seems about right. I don't know if I can have Kareem Hunt in here. His value's highest when they are down rather, playing comeback mode. They're not going to be down against the Jets. We saw against the Giants, he did nothing. I think we're getting one of those weeks this week. Oh boy, does this drop off. Look at this. Steaming pile of shit. I got to get Gio Bernard bumped up a bit, though. Against Houston, assuming he's the guy, the featured guy. Yeah, as you guys can see, a little bit lower on Swift this week. I'd have Bernard right there with him. Maybe Bell above him, but big on Bernard this week. As soon as you trust him, you're getting your 3.5 points, but he's fumbled once in his career. I don't know why they benched him the way they did. And then the other guys fumbled and they didn't even put him on. It made no sense to me. Now we're in, I like Gus Edwards always over the ECR. This is a clear-cut, marking room healthy scratch, clear-cut 2 backfield. Over almost 80 yards last week, just productive churns. Big fan of Gus Edwards, still out there in over half of leagues. With no Cam Akers, Darrell Henderson will be the feature guy. You think? I feel like this is a little too low for Carson. I'll put Carson at 22. I'm nervous though. Why am I nervous? I don't know necessarily. He played the most snaps he's played all year, but that offense is just sickening right now. Am I crazy to have Carson below a Fournette, a McKissick? Let me know what you guys think. I don't know. I'm just not into it this week. Oh boy, does it get bad here. We'll cut this off right around here, but I'm going to bump Ito Smith out. The quotes being that he's taken over from Gurley's. Widely available. If you're desperate for a running back, that's probably your best Hail Mary that's going to be available to you. Other than that, for Hail Marys, like Gore, solid bet for a touchdown every week, over Chase Edmonds. I guess Chase Edmonds had a nice week last week, but meh. I could see Moss pounded in a couple against New England, similar to Singletary here. Screw Connor, no interest on him. Ronald Jones is not expected to play, so I'll just X out of that. I'm just going to see if there's any other interesting streamers. Barber should be a good touchdown bet, so I'll bump him up a little bit. Jamal Williams is not practicing, looking like he might not play, so we'll X out of him for now. I'm not seeing anyone too much down here that needs the bump up. I'm going to X out of Gaskin because we ranked Ahmed as if Gaskin's not playing. Now, if Gaskin's playing, we're going to have to flip some of that. I would say, yeah, Lynn Bowden probably wraps up where your last possible streamers here at running back. Look at how Gallman's fallen, unfortunately. I mean, maybe if Daniel Jones is playing, I'll feel better. I'm not that scared about the Ravens. They haven't been that good of a run D, but it's not like we saw the floor. 3 points this last week if Colt McCoy's at QB. Just hideous stuff. All righty. That kind of wraps up the running backs, folks. Again, you can see, assuming Salvin's the starter, I'm going to be much higher on him. Love me some Jeff Wilson and Fournette this week. I honestly think Fournette might be a little too low here. Bump him up here a little ahead of Wilson because you never know what Shanahan's going to do. But still viable options there. And Gio Bernard might belong above all these guys. Like we'll come back to these rankings throughout the week, but this is going to be the toughest kind of like mud to sift through. And Henderson, it dropped in a lot of leagues. Like he looked explosive all over the field early on in the year. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him have a big game. 4,500 on DraftKings. Interesting plays all around. So those are the running backs as of right now, folks. Cutting it off at Lynn Bowden. So like down here, maybe James White gets into your streamers, especially if they get down early, but I don't see anyone else down here that I'm overly excited about. We might need to rank these Jags guys if James Robinson is announced out. I'm going to clean up that stuff down there, though. Alrighty, folks, that's the running backs rankings. Let me know your thoughts. We're going to pull up your questions here. Going to load up the wide receiver points against and get back to your questions. As Denny says, Kittle looking like he must play, and if he plays, how do you not have him in lineups, folks? I mean, this guy is the only guy that can match Kelsey's upside on a given week. So if he's in your lineup. Deontay, Cooks, Fournette, Jeff Wilson, Dobbins for first name Jerry. You need 3. I don't remember if your league's PPR or not, but I like Fournette a lot against Detroit. Love Dobbins, not benching Dobbins. Comes down to Wilson or Deontay for me. Is that last spot. I mean, then Cooks gets Cincy, so that could be a complete blow up too. This is a tough one to sift through, brother. Really tough one, Jerry. And of course, if Ronald Jones returns, that makes it a lot easier. You wouldn't even consider Fournette. I feel like I got to get Deontay in there, though. I mean, he's so steady. And he looked like he's kind of overcome those dropsies. So I'm going to go Dobbins, Fournette, Deontay as of right now. Cooks, man, against Cincy, though. That's juicy. That's tough. Good question there, Jerry. Very good question. And we'll pack, if you don't mind giving this as we get to your questions too, that thumbs up helps us get out to more people. And of course, that testimonial, if we've helped you out throughout this year, rotostreetjournal.com/support2020. I know a lot of you guys watching right now have already submitted that. It just makes our night to read those, your positive words, as we wind down here, get to the end of the season. Just so nice, reaffirming and great to see. So it would be greatly appreciated, guys. Kittle might play this week, as Denny Jennings was just saying. Oh, whoops, I just skipped a bunch. Did not mean to do that. Hold on. Let me find where I was. Playing Goff and Tanny in 2 QB. I like Goff over Breeze. I got a good feeling Rams are going to have a comeback. They certainly need one after that pathetic game against the Jets. I personally prefer Breeze against Minnesota, Jeremiah. I think he shook that rust off. Second half, Breeze looked a lot better than the first. He put up nearly all 20 of those points in like the last quarter. Wouldn't be surprised to see a whole game like that. So I like Breeze myself. But hey, you got to trust your gut. You go down your own sword. Haskins should be suspended. It seems like it's heading that way. Does CMC and Zeke sit? I would have Mike Davis and Pollard in the flex if they do. Pollard certainly above Davis. I don't see why either team would risk their stud here, Tunes. But crazier things have happened. They might want to play. They might want to get out there. If I had to guess, I think CMC plays this week. I don't know why. I just have that gut feeling. I imagine Zeke sits because Pollard looks so good, and they put such a big investment into Zeke. I imagine he plays. Zeke sits, and Pollard just remains the guy. Going to be watching Hurts win me a championship. There you go. Kick the shit out of the Cowgirls. Danny will be on my bench. Interesting, Denny Jennings. That's a tough call. Tannehill versus Hurts, but I personally lean Hurts too. The riskier play. But after last weekend, is it that risky? I mean, the guy crushed it. Big fan of Hurts this weekend. Absolutely. I'm guessing this is Tannehill or Hurts as well, and I have Hurts higher. I do see Los. I do. He's going to destroy those Cowboys. Denny Jennings, Dalton's going to shred your secondary. Oh, boy. Got some Eagles and Cowboys trash talk going back and forth. Playing for two ships. My man DJ, love to hear it. Thank you for your kind words as well on those testimonials. I was so appreciated, so thank you for that. We'll have to keep track of James Robinson for you for sure, brother. He's been a crucial cog to every championship run at this point. Hurts is getting 45. Fletcher Cox going to take Dalton and beat it out back and beat his ass. Totally could. Fletcher Cox is a terrifying man. D. Parker and Nelson Aguilar both might end up on the bench, but Parker too is pissing me off. Yeah, Parker I don't want at all. I'm not playing Parker this week, Tunes. I'd put Aguilar in over him. No doubt about it. Chance the Mahomes and Kelsey sit for the most part from here on out. Sounds crazy, but McKissick over Kelsey and Hurts over Mahomes. No. Mahomes and Kelsey against Atlanta, and you're talking about benching them, Shady? Come on. That is the gimme spot of all gimme spots. And they have to play for a bye. Only one team's getting a bye this year. They don't have anything clinched yet. They're not going to sit. No. No way. Jeremiah, my apologies. Sorry, but that's how it is. Got to be unfiltered. So headphones seem like a good idea. Don't want to teach anybody new language here. Who wins from Juan Pena? You got Josh Allen, Landry, Juju. Not feeling great about Juju. Kamara, Robinson, Kelsey. I love that squad. Kamara, Robinson, Taylor. We don't know about Robinson, but you could plug in. I don't love your plugins either, actually. Let me know who might be out there on the waiver wires here, Juan. Opponent is Brady, Adams, Thielen, Cook. He's got a great squad, too. Woo. That's a tough one. Depending on Robinson's status, I mean, you got the QB edge. I'd say he's got the receiver edge, no doubt. Running backs are about a wash when you got Cook and Aaron Jones. Of course, you got the huge tight end edge, which it can't go without saying, Juan. But I think this is a battle. I would say 40% you, 60% the other guy. It's going to be a battle, though. Two heavyweights going at it. Two great teams, for sure. Champagne is on ice, Wolfpack. Do not jinx yourself, Denny Jennings. Do not do it. Let's get after it, Wolf. Breeze, Tua, Stafford. It's my QB2. I'm going to go Breeze here. Snagged Hurts as QB1. Let's go, Brad. Based on the feedback. Love to hear it. I go Breeze out of that group. Stafford would be my close second. I don't want to trust Tua this weekend. The rushing touchdowns have been nice, but, I mean, that could fizzle out at any point. I don't know if you can share the picture, Anthony. I do want to see that matchup for sure between you and the shady ass. I'd love to see it. Any news on Haskins? He getting suspended? It seems like that's a very real possibility. And who knows who's going to be at QB? That's obviously going to be huge for McLaurin. I probably want him on my bench. He couldn't get done with his boy Haskins last week. Ahmed Gaskin, whichever one plays, destroys the Raiders. I totally agree, Jeremiah. Absolutely. All right, Wolfpack, I'm going to get on into our Week 15 receivers. We'll, of course, get to all of your questions, though, in a little bit. We get through them all, as we do every time. Devontae Adams against Tennessee, that's going to be a joke, but not far behind is Tyreek, and we just saw Hopkins do his thing. I mean, this seems like your big five, and I don't really necessarily disagree with any of this order of them. I would probably have Diggs, no Stephon Gilmore, above Calvin Ridley. But we also don't know what's going to on with that foot, so he might be removed from the rankings. I'm bumping down. Screw Keenan Allen. I don't know if A.J. Brown will draw Jair Alexander. That's obviously a big risk, but I'm willing to find out. I'm going to keep bumping down Keenan. Screw that motherfucker. Play me. Don't sit me. Gets 1 point freaking ugh. Bumping Jefferson up. I love Ayuk. I mean, wide receiver 3 in points per game since week 7. I'm going to have DK above Keenan, but I don't love DK this week. I do love Mike Evans. I would say, though, he kind of starts, our elite wide receiver ones, quality wide receiver ones, last wide receiver ones, high-end wide receiver 2s, kind of at this range. Let's go through the matchups just to make sure. So Tyreek against Atlanta. Whoo. You got your Seahawks guys, your Rams, they got to get bumped up here. Facing the Seahawks, even though they've been a lot better since Jamal Adams came back. Too bad the Eagles have no receivers you really want to start against the Cowboys. Rager might be the only potential flyer, and he's hurt right now, so who knows. Yeah, your Saints in a great swat. Mike Thomas on the IR. So you're looking like Manny Sanders. Traquan Smith might not even play, so this could be the Manny Sanders show. He'll be high in the rankings. Adams will kill the Titans. Mike Evans, Godwin, AB all in great spots there. You got your Jets. Just a smash spot for Landry to keep rolling. Jags, Allen Robinson just going to backhand them. Texans, especially with no Bradley Roby, have been getting destroyed. So maybe Higgins, especially if this concussion lingers for Boyd, could be a great play. And then Tampa Bay Bucks have been shooting up this list. They've been horrible lately against wide receivers. So good spot for Marvin Jones. Then your bottom, Rams. So your Seahawks guys, DK, bigger risk this week, especially after last week's dud. I don't know. I'm going to bump him down a little bit. Washington, very limiting to wide receivers. So, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson. DJ Moore coming off that huge game. Chiefs, Calvin Ridley. Do I bump him down a little bit? Bears, not really trusting too many Jags here. And then the Pats, but that's with Gilmore. I imagine they're going to get destroyed by Diggs and co. And then your Chargers and Bills, surprisingly decent against wide receivers there. So Chargers getting Denver, nobody you care about. Bills getting the Pats, nobody you cares about. This one, the Packers, A.J. Brown. Is that something that you got to shy away from? Maybe. Where were the Saints on that list? They've started to give up a bit more. Yeah, 20. And they were down here just a few weeks ago. They've been getting torched lately. I'm feeling really good about Jefferson and Thielen. Why is he so low? I don't know. I mean, DK Metcalf, grown man, yes. But this matchup, I'd rather have Robert Woods. Jarvis Landry versus the Jets, I feel safer about. Indy for Deontay. I am nervous about some of these studs, and I'm not, after last week, always play your studs. Don't know that we can keep saying that with the championship on the line here, folks. Marvin Jones above Keenan Allen. Screw Keenan fucking Allen. Now, if he's fully healthy and ready to go, okay, we'll put him where he belongs. He's crushed it this year with Herbert, but I don't want to trust him right now. We'll put him in this tier. I'm bumping down Terry, though. We don't even know who's going to throw to him. Best case is Alex Smith. That's not a very good best case. Godwin, mediocre last week, but again, Detroit is Detroit. Easy matchup. Corey Davis could be drawing number 2s. I like Brandon Cooks above Terry, above DJ Moore. I like Beasley above these guys. As you can see, very low on Terry. Not into him this week. Lockett deservedly down here. I'd rather have Corey, They are going to get their number one cornerback, the Giants. So, as good as Marquise Brown has been lately, I'll tell you, I love Rashad Higgins. Uh, 25% owned right now. Should be top 30 on every list. Love Manny Sanders even a little bit more, though. The only show in town against those Vikings corners should go berserk. I feel like this is a game that, like, Samuel would be better than Anderson, the way that they might use him. I think AB will be better than both. QD against Cincy. Touchdown monster with the usage. CeeDee Lamb getting a little mojo back. Gets that Philly pathetic secondary. I like Cooper. I know he sucked, but again, especially if Darius Slay is out, we saw this secondary just get pulverized here. Of the Seahawks guys, I feel like Lockett's a better play than DK. I'd probably play Lockett, above. Again, if I have Lockett, like, am I really not going to go him over some of these guys? Certainly not into Juju or Claypool these days with the way Big Ben looks. Let's get T. Higgins. The only show in town against Houston. Yeah, only 6 points, but I could see him really panning out. Boyd, I'm going to rank as if he's not playing, and then we'll change if he is. I like Lazard to come into his own this week. Not into Chark. Didn't get it done with his boy, Minshew back. I think Crowder needs to get ranked higher. He had like 6 for 60 against the Rams, like one of the better defenses out there. I could trust Crowder this week. Chatty Hansen against Cincy. Why is Judy this high up? I'd rather have Darnell Mooney than him. Than a lot of these guys. He's also a widely available streamer, too. I mean, Tyron Johnson looks like an absolute stud these last few weeks. As you can see, I'm not into Chark. I'm not trusting Pittman anymore. Never Judy. I don't know why he's ranked as high as he is. We'll cut this off in a second and go to tight ends. I'm just trying to see if there's anybody I love down here. I'll rank Parkers if he's not playing. Yeah, there's nobody down there, that catches my eye too much. Darius Slayton did look good last week, though, so I'll give him a little bump up. But who knows if it's Colt McCoy or Danny Jones here, so I don't want to give him too much credit. Gabriel Davis could be a potential number one. Cole Beasley will be the number one, but like he could see some huge volume. They're the second pass happiest attack after the Chiefs. We'll cut this one here. Pittman doesn't belong. Maybe Mike Williams against Denver, especially if Keenan remains dinged up. Yeah, no one else down here really catching my eye overly. So there's your, top 50. So you got to have 3 receivers out of that group, right? So there you go. Down on Keenan by a lot. Metcalf down on Terry, DJ Moore. Not into them this week. In terms of higher, Adam Thielen. How is he so low? Is he hurt? Like what? I don't know why I'm Crowder much higher on this week than the ECR. Lower on Robbie Anderson. That Washington D is the real deal. And then some Hail Marys down here for you with Gabriel, Hansen, Mooney, Tyron. plenty of available guys. But definitely the top play would be Rashad Higgins. If you need a streamer, 25% owned, is going to crush the Jets this week. All righty, Wolfpack. We're going to move to tight ends. I'm going to pull up the points against for tight ends. And while that's loading, we'll get back to your questions. Komet, Hooper, or Ingram, PPR. I'm going Hooper. Gets the Jets, fresh off a 50-yard TD day. Easiest matchup, the Jets for tight ends. Higbee just dominated those guys. So, yeah, give me that one. Since James Robinson's dinged up, should I pick up Gore or Ito Smith for marbles? Ugh. Neither. I might pick up his backup, like Dare Ogunbowale. Maybe it's Zigbo. You're right. Who is it? I'd say Ito Smith over Gore. Probably catch some balls against them. But could you play a flex? Like, could you do Rashad Higgins? You know what I mean? I'd rather have him 1,000 times than those running backs won. So let me know what you could do there. Love hearing your candid discussion on rankings. You're my go-to now. Love to hear it. You don't get stuck on the brand name. No, sir, Brad. You know, there's name value and then there's matchups and production. I appreciate that. I try my best to rank them different, each week based on the matchups and everything. And I try to show you what those matchups are as I go. I'm glad you like it. I'm glad I'm your go-to. I'm glad you're in your finals. Now let's get you that title. Deshaun Watson or Justin Herbert? I'm leaning Deshaun against Cincy, Jared. That's what I'm feeling, Jared Mendez. Close, but matchups with Watson, both similar talents, and play calling probably a little bit on Watson's side. Trying to decide between Johnson, Gordon, and Ahmed. Looks like DJ's my pick. I mean, after that, 11 catch day, now get Cincinnati. It's tough, Brad, to go against DJ. I like all those guys. They're not bad. If Ahmed is the lone guy, if Gaskin's not activated, we might have to rethink this. But as of right now, I think it's David Johnson. David Johnson, Keith Lewis, or Darrell Henderson. It got to be David Johnson. Again, 11 catches last week. Finally just worked in the game plan. And it over 100 yards. It clearly worked. It makes you wonder where that's been all year. But again, Cincy, a great last week to go in with David Johnson. I'm into him. I think I should look for a wide receiver. Yeah, Higgins, Juan. That's where I'm looking. If he's out there, let me know. If not, I'd probably go receiver either way if James Robinson's not playing compared to, I go for Snell actually, just in case he's the starter, right? But I'd rather have a receiver either way. Do I play Kittle, says Pitt Steel City. If Kittle plays, I play Kittle. It's very easy formula for me. Jeff Wilson's nursing an ankle injury, says Denny Jennings. He is. I think he's the guy. I don't think it's too serious. We'll find out. 16 carries last week. I think he's the guy. Does Hawk wake up? He better. Yeah, nobody can afford that type of shit again, Kyle Toons. I think he does. Faces Tampa Bay. Not that hard of a matchup, so I'm into it. My receivers are Landry, Jefferson, Gage in my standard league for Jeremiah. Sound good, or should I get John Brown or Gabriel Davis, especially since they have Allen? That's a good point. I didn't rank John Brown, but he was activated last week and should potentially be playing. I'd like John Brown. Where is he in these ranks? There he is. All the way down at 92. I would have Johnny Brown like above Gabriel Davis, especially. So this one also depends. Is Diggs playing, right? If not, and John Brown's the number one for Russell Wilson. Let's rank as if that's the case. I would have him, above Juju, probably above T. That's where John Brown ranks. So I would try to get John Brown on the off chance he plays. Landry, you're playing. Jefferson, you're playing. Gage is only valuable if Julio sits. Seems like he probably will. I don't see why they wouldn't, but he's also fighting to play. So Gage could become nothing. You should definitely stack up on a couple backups here, I would think. 1 QB, 2 running back, 2 receivers, 3 flex, no D, kicker, no tight end, but can play one in the flex if you want. Okay. I think you're about to send us your lineups here. So I will dig in and analyze that matchup for you, fella. Best receivers are Watkins, Aguilar, John Brown, Judy, Hardman, Kirk, Mooney. Cool. So I'm guessing Higgins is not there, sadly. C. Samuel is, though. Okay. I like C. Samuel. Didn't have the best of weeks. I like Samuel and I like John Brown here of this list. I would pick those guys. Craig Dupay. Zeke playing? No word yet. No updates yet. My guess on the situation would be they just rest him. Why risk it at this point? Pollard's looking great. It's your big money investment with Zeke. Lost season. Keep seeing what you have in Pollard. And I would hope that Zeke sits if I'm you too. You want Pollard for sure. He'd be a top 10 running back this week. Absolutely. And thoughts on Taylor? No way you bench this guy at this point. He is rolling. And you saw what Gio Bernard did to the Steelers. Since losing Bud Dupree, that cannot go overstated how big of a loss that is. So I love Jonathan Taylor. Right in my top 10 running backs yet again this week. Kittle doesn't play. You need a tight end, says Jeremiah. Oh, yeah, Logan Thomas. 15 targets and 13 catches? Shoot. How's he out there in your waivers, Jeremiah? Go on and get him. Absolutely, my dude. It's for RB, Gore, Snell, Henderson. So Henderson is a very intriguing play because Akers is out. Go get Henderson. Go get Henderson, Juan Pena. Absolutely. Could rip some huge gains off against that team. Go get Henderson. Brady, Jones, Montgomery, Eckler, A-Rob, Evans, Jefferson, Woods, Rodrigo, Los Angeles Rams, D. So it's lineup 1. And Mixon could play Pollard, Mixon if available, and Kittle. Interesting. You're going to get Pollard in. You're going to get Evans over. I mean, I don't know if I could get Kittle in if you don't have to start a tight end over any of these guys. His value is he plays at the worst position in fantasy football. And mixing against Houston would be intriguing, but that's a big risk. And you got studs. You got locked in studs, fella. I'm keeping it as is most of the time. If Pollard is the guy, though, you might work him in over Woods or Evans, potentially. Brady can get suspended for allegedly deflating a football. Then Goodell could suspend Keenan Allen for saying, "Don't sit me" last week. Also, Guyton or Tyron Johnson. I'm more of a Tyron Johnson fan. And yes, Ben, he should absolutely be suspending. Utter garbage he pulled. Jake Julio plays. Forgot to mention I got him. I don't think so. I don't see why. Similar to Zeke, I don't see why they're going to play those guys. So, yeah. Going against Fournette, Akers, and CMC. Hoping Rojo's back. The others are out. It's looking like Akers is definitely out. He's already ruled out this week. And so from there, I'm going to go. Oh, well, you're not asking a question. You're just kind of saying you hope these guys are out. Yeah, you got to hope CMC's out because that's 25 points right against you. Need Julio, Diggs, and Kittle all to be healthy and play. Connor, that's asking a lot because I wouldn't say any of those three are likely. Seems like Kittle's the likeliest, though, and that could be big for you. All right, last one before we get to tight ends here for the assailant, and then we will, of course, finish up with all your questions once we wrap up the tight ends. Pollard without Zeke or Gibson if he plays. I would have a hard time trusting Gibson first week back. So I'm going to go Pollard with no Zeke. The Carolina matchup is nice for Gibson. My man, Mr. Bays. But I go Pollard there after what he just did. No doubt. All righty, Wolfpack. Let's get on to your tight ends here. I will, of course, I see all your other questions, guys. I will be sure to get to all of them. And just a quick last plug, thumbs up wherever you're at, YouTube, Facebook, Periscope. Helps us get out to more people. And RoadTreeJournal.com/support2020. Wolfpack, it means so much to hear your kind words. Nobody can talk about how we're helpful better than you guys. So please consider doing that. We're going to use those in a pitch deck later this offseason as we try to take this thing to the next level. So exciting, Wolfpack. You got your Jets against Hooper this week. Great matchup for him. Your Bears will get the Jags. There's nobody of note really there. Your Browns squaring off against your Jets. Nobody of note there. Bills, nobody of note for New England. Atlanta Falcons. Oh, Travis Kelce. Somebody of note there. Yeah, he's going to destroy them. Bengals versus tight ends are horrendous. And so Bengals are playing Houston. So Jordan Akins may be a stream this week. You got Cole Kmet facing the Jags, but is it Jimmy Graham? He's a little too involved, unfortunately, right now. Tampa Bay Bucks, TJ Hawkinson should rebound in a big way, round out your top 10. And then the Chargers, generous to tight ends, facing off against Noah Fant this week, coming off a huge 20-point day, should be back in action. And then your Eagles, Dalton Schultz maybe catches a nice little touchdown for you there. Bottom, Pittsburgh still very good against tight ends. San Fran, very good against tight ends. So Pittsburgh facing off against, you're not playing any of the Colts guys. San Fran, they just gave up 15 catches to like Logan Thomas a couple weeks ago, so I'm not overly worried about these matchups. The Pats have been very good against tight ends. You're not using Dawson Knox anyways. Green Bay, Jonnu Smith, you probably don't want in your lineups at this point, and Colts have been very restrictive to tight ends. So Ebron, if he played, would be in a tough matchup, but it doesn't look like you're going to have any of Eric Ebron this week. So let's get this going. Let's do the usual dance. Travis Kelce, tier alone. Darren Waller, next tier alone. Mark Andrews versus the Giants. Giants are pretty good against tight ends, but nothing that you have to avoid. We saw Hooper have a pretty big day against them. Let's rank Kittle as if he's playing. He's down here. This is where he belongs. Maybe a tier below Waller just because there's a little bit more risk, and there's no risk with Waller at this point. I'd say, these three right here, Kittle, Andrews, Hawkinson, good matchup, safe all year. Forgive him for that dud if he screwed you guys. Still into him. I think Noah Fant, though, makes sense at tight end 6. Like, great matchup, great game. You got to keep – it depends on who the QB is for Logan Thomas, but as of right now, I got to have him in there. Robert Tonyan, though, definitely going to catch a touchdown this week. I would say, Goddard, a good matchup. I guess the Dallas matchup lets him sneak into here, but getting risky. You're not getting a lot of targets to your tight end from Mr. Hurts. He threw for 330, and Goddard had 40 of them. Not great. Let's check out Ebron as if he's not playing. Didn't look like you're going to have him. Oh, Cook sucked last week, but I think he could rebound. I'm not trusting Ingram with Colt McCoy at QB. I think Gronk deserves to be in this tier. Yeah, he had a dud, but 3 end zone targets, good chance he converts one of those this week. Oh, Hooper against the Jets. Way too low in the ECR right there. Hurst reemerged for a touchdown last week. Maybe if you're desperate, you can start him. Kansas City's one of the more generous teams to tight ends. Reed, I just ranked as if Kittle's playing, so we'll get him out of here. I do think Jordan Akins could be an intriguing stream this week against Cincy. Still don't hate Herb Smith. I really wish Komet would separate from Jimmy Graham because he's so much better. I'd rather have Dalton Schultz, though, in here. I know Higbee reemerged last week, but he's been such a hit-or-miss option. I don't know that I trust Zach Ertz at this point. Actually, I know I don't trust Zach Ertz at this point. And you're just looking at some real shitheads from this point on. Mike Gesicki did practice, so let's rank Gesicki as if he's in. Well, here we go. Yeah, it's loading. All righty. If Mike Gesicki plays, he would be right up there for me. Got a great rapport with Tua, who also the backup tight end Smythe caught like a touchdown last week. So he just loves his tight ends, it seems. This seems, I would say we can cut this right there and create like one last, here's your desperation, guys. And I don't think you can really go anywhere below there. Now, we could see Jordan Reed get bumped up if Kittle doesn't play. He'd probably join this gross tier for desperation touchdowns. But that winds down my tight ends. So as you can see, Kelce, Waller, just gods among their position. High end tight end ones. remaining tight end ones. So there's 13 guys that could be your top tight ends. And then like the last ditch, tight end twos, if you're desperate for a streamer, some guys to consider there. Hopefully you don't have to get this low, but this is the last potential starters right there. And that rounds down my tight ends and my tiers there. On the defenses, but on to your questions first. Zach Hensel, flex play, PPR, Hunt, Deontay, or Terry. I got to lean Deontay there. Indy's not nearly as good in the secondary as they are against like the run and tight end. Deontay's just so safe and steady, in my opinion. Marcos Valdez, Scantling, half PPR, Thielen, AJ Brown, and Ayuk, pick 2. I think I'm benching Thielen there. And it's more so out of love for the other two than hate for him. I don't really have a reason to bench Thielen. But I don't see any. I like the other two just more. And then Herbert, Tannehill. I'm going to lean Tannehill very, very slightly. Tough questions, Marcos, but I bench Thielen and I play Tannehill there. Pollard, question mark. If the starter, he's in your lineup. Top 10 guy if he's the starter, Craig Dupay. You're welcome, Pitt Steele, brother. Logan Thomas or Kittle if he plays. It's Kittle if he plays. You have Kittle, you play Kittle. No matter the risk, you play Kittle. Julio and Gage. Oh, there you go. So you got your Falcons guy, whoever it ends up being. Angel Vox 1. Do you think Packers or KC will rest players? No, they have stuff to play for, right? I think as far as I know, Angel Vox, right? Like Buffalo could still jump the Chiefs if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. I haven't done enough research to fully know what the exact playoff scenarios are, but I don't think either of those teams have clinched to the point where they could rest starters. But if so, let me know. Like I would definitely recheck that. You don't think should I plug Taylor for Robinson, put Henderson in the flex or Gage if Julio's out? I think yes, you plug in Taylor, and then you keep Robinson in the flex because that's your risk. And then I think Henderson or any of those receivers you mentioned, Gage if Julio's out makes sense. Absolutely. I think that's the 100% the route, Juan Pena. Logan Thomas or Mark Andrews? Thanks. Mark Andrews. Giants, we just saw again give up solid points to Austin fucking Hooper. Standard score, Lockett, Godwin, Corey Davis for Toddy Norton. Is this the Todd Norton? My man. What's going on, Todd? Lockett. I take it you're in the finals then of who you're facing. Is it Hutch? I feel like Hutch always makes his way to your guys' finals. King Drew. I bet you it's not Willard. That's for damn fucking sure. So who is it? So we got standard scoring: Lockett, Godwin, Corey Davis, and Higgins. Do I dare start Higgins over anyone? So it's a matter of you're starting 3 of these guys. Does Higgins creep in? It's a risk to bench Lockett, especially standard where it's a lot about the big plays and the touchdowns. I mean, I'm playing Godwin. I'm playing Corey Davis above Lockett. You saw here, I ranked Higgins above Lockett too. I think Higgins is going to score. I would play Higgins over Lockett, but my man, that's a gut call. There's, that one comes down. You got to live and die on your sword. But Lockett against the Rams in a struggling Seahawks attack, as soon as everybody's out on them is when they're going to probably blow up. But I love Higgins this week. I do. I would play Higgins over Lockett if it's one of those guys, and I personally have him higher. Well, if Haskin gets suspended and Alex perhaps sits, does that put McKissick higher up? More volume maybe, but the quality of the volume, Austin, goes down. So I don't know about that. I don't think so. If I win my championship this week, I can right now. We'll take all the testimonials we can, Tunes, but yours was unbelievable already. Talking about how we connect with the fans and we care about your teams, because it was absolutely true. I'm just happy we radiate that, and you guys were able to capture that. Kittle absolutely ate with Mullins, so I'm hoping he plays. It seems like Mullins is not going to play, though. He might require surgery. It's looking like Beathard's going to start there. But either way, Kittle's going to eat if he plays. Kelsey, opponent has Gronk. Should I scoop Hooper up to play a little defense? Yeah, why not, right? It's all about that. All about that defense. No doubt. Should I still play Josh Allen against New England? Josh Allen's not a rookie QB, my dude, Juan. You're playing Allen over anybody at this point. Like, I had him at QB 5 or 6. So, if you have like Kyler Murray or someone, let me know who your other options are, Aaron Rodgers. But yeah, you're playing Josh Allen 90% of the time. King Anthony, I need to start 4 of these 5. So we got to bench 1. Oh, man, you got some good options here. Eckler, Bell, Jones, Sanders, Chubb. I'm going to bench Bell. With Clyde Edwards out, gets a huge bump up. But yeah, I'm out of these other guys. I mean, there's locked in studs all year. Whereas Bell, first start, like Clyde Edwards-Helaire has been lackluster even in featured back roles. I'm not going after him this week. When you have those guys, at least, King Anthony. Thanks for your valuable help all season. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, Marcos Valdez-Scantling. It's awesome having you. Made it, says Todd Norton, taking on Hutch. Yeah, Hutch, I feel like, is always in there. It's a wolf. Well, good luck, Todd, as the one to tune in here. I hope you are the one to take it down. Let me know what you end up deciding. I mean, if Lockett's your guy, you go him. It's not like Higgins you must get in by any means. I have him higher. That's a big risk. It could throw off your team chemistry. Let us know what you end up deciding, and best of luck. Let us know how that goes. I just love that Willard continues to blow in that league. Talk so much shit to those useless player. I have Kittle and Andrews. If Kittle plays, do I bench Andrews? Oh, man. King Anthony, I think I have Andrews just a little higher. I don't know. Fuck. If Kittle plays, you can't imagine he's on too big of a, why put him in there to be on a snap count, Fuck. That's tough. Neck and neck there. Neck and neck. I have probably Kittle. I'm probably going Kittle. Such a presence for your locker room there. Higgins or Thielen, says Craig Dupay. I'm going to go Thielen there. I mean, dude's a touchdown machine. And they're going to probably need points. I think that Saints game has some shootout potential there. I like Thielen. Stick with Landry? Absolutely you're sticking with Landry. Gets the Jets. All he's been doing is producing. Of course you're sticking with him. My man Ben, and don't have Lockett for what it's worth for others. Since his week 7 blow-up, he's only gone above 12 PPR points once. That's PPR points, Todd. If you're in a standard league, I mean, he probably hasn't even gone over 12 PPR. I mean, thank you, bro. How do I donate to the channel? Thanks for asking, Anthony. As you can see at the bottom, if you go to rotostreetjournal.com/support 2020, there's a tip all the way at the bottom. Your testimonials, obviously, you're free. Just takes a little bit of your time. Is so appreciated. But if you want to donate, the tip jar is right down there. King Anthony would be so appreciated. Anybody out there, not expected by any means, but if you guys are willing to, it means the world. It'd be so helpful to help us get this thing to the next level. So thank you for asking, King. I really appreciate that. Wolf, I'm in the finals. Thanks to you, says Sit Los Deo Patri. Great to see you. I feel like I haven't seen you much this year, but I'm happy that you've made the finals. I feel like last year we got you on the shows a bit more. But it sounds like you're tuning in either way, and I'm pumped to hear it, and I'm pumped to hear you in the finals. Love it. Sit Los Deo Patri. Good to see you again. It's been a while, but congrats and best of luck on your finals here. Let's get these defenses ranked. I will, bro. Appreciate you. I appreciate you, my man. Thank you so much. Let's get these defenses now ranked on in for you. Tough to have anyone but the Browns against the Jets. Lock in the Jets. I mean, against the Rams, though, last week, was it such a lock? I feel like the Bears against the Jags seems kind of like the top play here. Bills against New England. Bills aren't a great defense, though, but they look good against an awful Broncos team. Mariota looked good. I'm a little nervous about the Dolphins here. If Colt McCoy's playing, I mean, your Ravens are going to be a little bit higher here. I love the Cardinals this week. They're out there in a lot of waivers. Number 4 defense of the week. Mullins is knocked out and he sucks anyways. Beathard. Come on. Love me some Cardinals this week. If Stafford sit, the Bucs would obviously be shooting up this. I like Washington a lot. What a quality defense, quality players. I would say this kind of tier. I don't love the Chargers, D. They're just not good. Houston gets Cincy. I mean, Cincy just made the Steelers look ridiculous. That loss of Bud Dupree cannot be overstated. I think the Eagles, they're a pretty bad defense, but belong over them. And the Rams can get after Russell. I mean, your Colts, good defense. Pittsburgh just gave up how many points against Cincinnati? Awful, pathetic defense. I mean, Carolina might be facing the joke of all joke quarterbacks. So, like, we might get a practice squad dude in there. So that's one to pay attention to. Maybe stash and see who they're facing. I can't have the Steelers below some of these other teams. As bad as they just were, and the defensive injuries certainly have caught up to them. But I always liked having the Chiefs, like an opportunistic one. Boom or bust defense, but Hardman can rip a touchdown in, punt return. Let me just see if there's any other teams that look good down here. Not really. I mean, Breeze is getting sacked a bit, so we could bump up Vikings a little, but I don't like any of these teams. No. Yeah, there's nobody on this list that I'm really targeting at all. Maybe the Giants give him a fit. They've been pretty good, but I doubt it. So that's your defenses. Kickers, I'll rank my top 12, and then we move on to whatever questions you guys have. It looks like we got like 4 or 5 left. Keep coming them in, Wolfpack. I'll be happy to answer them all. It's always Younghoe at the top, but against Kansas City, I could see why this might be a week where he gets a little bit of a hit. From there, I like this. I think Sanders deserves a little bit of a bump up. Finally missed one last week, though, but I love me some Tyler Bass. What an absolute boot. Fairbairn against Cincy should get his, but you got to have Rodrigo. Rodrigo up there. Get the goggles. No doubt. Greg the Leg, booting 50-yarders all day. I think Suck Up is a great one, though, for Tampa Bay. Good spot there. And yeah, Parkey against them. Yeah, fuck Parkey, though. Is Crosby that bad in this offense? Gus, I like Joey Sly. Like that, they'll move the ball enough, and then he'll have to boot some. I've always been a big Joey Sly guy, though. Austin Firster, you know that. I'd say screw Jason Myers. I don't want him in the top tier. There you go. You got your 12 kickers. Find one of these to stream, because there's no way somebody owns 2 kickers in your league at this point. So that's how I rank my kickers. I'll look through, anybody else down here. Nah. Maybe Goskowski gets a little bump over like a shithead like Jake Elliott. I like Santos, actually, the way that offense has been cooking. So this will be like the last guys I consider. I like Matty Gay, too. Bam. Alrighty, there's your kickers, and there's your rankings, Wolfpack. Let's get back on to your questions for the rest of the way here. D West. Anybody have any insight about weather in Green Bay and starting Rodgers? I barely won this week and got Hurts. I haven't seen anything about the weather coming into the week. Have you, D West? I haven't done that depth of research quite yet, but we, of course, will. That'd be the only thing putting Hurts above him for me, would be if the weather's horrible. Because against Tennessee, they're going to shoot out. They're going to need points. I think Rodgers goes for 4 touchdowns this week. And I love Hurts too, but I have Rodgers too, behind only Mahomes. Riding the Finns for about 8 weeks, says Jeremiah. Yeah, they've been a solid defense. They really have. Against Mariota, it could be a smash, but Mariota looks really, really good. Would you start McLaurin over A.J. Brown? No. What's McLaurin done to warrant that at this point? Like, he was great to start the year. He might have a 3rd string, 4th string, because Kyle Allen was the 3rd stringer thrown to him this week. Nah. The matchup with Jair could be scary, but you just need one big pop from A.J. Brown. He's so well used in the red zone, too. It's not like Jair's going to shadow him the entire game, King Anthony. Been riding with Steelers defense all year, but do I pick up Arizona, Carolina, or Tampa? Says Ben. As you see, I loved Arizona, Ben. 3rd string quarterback, Beathard, they're going to sack him all day. You could be looking at a pick 6. I'm leaning with Arizona. Now, we'll see what Carolina, who they're facing at quarterback, but I like Arizona there. Cardinals, Eagles, Bucks D available. As I said, I like the Cardinals the most. I like them over both the defenses you have. Yeah, I like Cardinals, and then I also do like the Bucks against Detroit, but I like the Cardinals more. Thanks for your help. I've made it to my league's championship. Pat Sullivan, love to hear it. Love to hear it. Great stuff. Let's get the W now. Kenyon Drake or Bell, half PPR. Fuck Drake. Let's go Bell. Featured back. Kansas City offense. They'll put up their points against Atlanta. Good bet for the end zone. Would you stick with Henry at tight end or pick up Hooper? Whew. They're within a spot or two of my rankings. I like Hooper with the matchup against the Jets. I like the talent of Henry a lot better. We saw him get it done. I think a lot of this D West depends on, is Keenan Allen playing? How healthy are the weapons? If Allen's out, we just saw how much more involved Henry got. I think it's worth owning Hooper. I don't want to face him. He could go off against the Jets. He's a big risk, though. Like, he's had good matchups and done jack shit in them. I feel like Henry's probably a little safer. I might not have the rankings reflecting that right now. I'll probably fix that. Lots of snow. Okay. I mean, Rodgers has played in the snow. He knows how to do those elements. Let's wait this one out and see if it stays that way. All that good stuff. But I'm thinking I'm still going to ride Rodgers there. Dee Cook, what do you think? I think he's a fucking animal. He's the number one scoring running back right now, right? Like, what's there to think other than this dude is a legendary stud who's carried you to titles and you're never going to bench him? New Orleans? Nah, I mean, yeah, the toughest run D, but come on. This is Dalvin Cook. Unless, again, you have, I'll tell you the guy, I do have him at RB6, so there is a slight chance if you have 3 of my top 5 guys, one, God bless your opponent, he's going to get smashed. Derrick Henry, Aaron Jones, Montgomery, Kamara, Dalvin Cook, my RB5. And honestly, if I was looking at the barrel of a gun and I had Montgomery versus Cook, I'd probably play my guy, my stud. I love him, Pitt still. It's Dalvin Cook. A.J. Brown and Adams going off against each other this weekend absolutely could happen. Would love to see it. A little shootout battle, Sunday night football action. That game could go for 70 total points. I'm into it. I want everybody in that game. McLaurin or Amari Cooper, half PPR. Oh, I mean, we got to see Sieg. Who's the quarterback for Washington? Is Haskins suspended? Is Alex Smith healthy? If not, we're dealing with a 4th stringer. We're not putting McLaurin in our lineups because he hasn't really earned it right now at this point anyways. I'd probably go Cooper against a decimated Philly defense. Cooper is tough to trust too, though. I don't love either, but I go Cooper over McLaurin personally. All righty, Wolfpack. You guys are the best. Week 16. If you're here, that means you're in your championships. Best of luck, Wolfpack. Me and the Truth will be live, I think, tomorrow afternoon. We got to finalize a time. We're looking at like 2 or 3 because tomorrow night's going to be tough. Holiday celebrations coming up. We can't do Thursday. We won't be doing a Thursday show this week. Friday's Christmas. Love you guys, but I'm not going to be doing a Christmas show. We'll be live Saturday because I know there's a 3-game slate. We got some DFS to break down. You'll have a bunch of sit starts. So mid-afternoon tomorrow, Saturday sit-start show, Sunday as always. But come find us for both. Come find us for all. We'll get all your line of questions. We'll have more clarity on some of these issues. Who's quarterbacking for Washington? What injuries have popped up? Who's playing? Who's in or who's out? We'll have all that news. So tomorrow, Saturday, hope to see you there, Wolfpack. If we don't talk till Saturday, very Merry Christmas to all of you, or Hanukkah, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. I hope you have a love-filled, fun-filled celebration. You guys are the best, Wolfpack. And just a reminder, rotostreetjournal.com/support 2020. If you're willing to give a tip, willing to give a testimonial, it would be so helpful and so appreciated. Best of luck again, Wolfpack. You guys are the best. See you guys hopefully soon later this week.